Hello, dear listener. Before we get started, we did end up having some recording issues unbeknownst to us in the latter half of the episode. This episode was intended to be an after action report of sorts on our experiences at the Williamsburg Muster 2022, which took place in February. Um, did manage to get through the entirety of our first two games and our experiences there. So this will be a part one of two. The second part will be coming soon, and we'll have the last game and some general thoughts on event running. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode.
Have you been?
Everyone, welcome
Have
to
you?
the Argel Talk podcast.
Been a while.
Um,
Do any of y'all like watermelon? Because
that
I'll
water
eat
muster.
it.
See,
That
what you
water
do
muster.
is you take the watermelon, you warm it up first by whatever means you have. If it fits in your microwave, I question a lot of things about your appliances. And you cut a hole.
Oh, it'll fit in your microwave. You just have to relax a little bit, man.
I'd
Don't let him.
be honest, like hot watermelon just sounds awful.
Well, I mean, I think the idea is that
Even
you're
if I'm gonna fuck it.
And there it is.
And welcome back to Argel Talk, the podcast for horse heresy and fruit fucking.
9,000.
Fruit fucking 9,000.
The fucking
Well,
end.
it's been a minute. Not because of anything that anybody else did. We recorded a podcast a couple weeks ago, and my sound wasn't working on it, so it was just me talking to myself for an hour and a half. And
Well,
that fucking rip. And that's the next time we've been able to get everybody to wrangled up and ready to talk. So here we are. But Ben, I think we had something happen since the last time we recorded.
Yeah, so our last actual recording, well, we've talked for a couple of recordings about the Williamsburg Muster, which is a convention down here in Williamsburg, Virginia. The last time we had it was in 2020. That was like the last. That was unbeknownst to everyone, that was going to be the last convention held for pretty much 2 solid years. And it started off as a historical gaming convention that the heresy kind of got pulled into just out of kind of a random happenstance, but it's been really good to us over the years and really helped grow the heresy community and gives the Virginia and North Carolina a convention that we can kind of call home. But that went off the middle of February, and I mean, from my perspective, everything went pretty damn well. The convention itself was the best attended in its entire history, which is great. Of obviously you want the convention that's housing you to be successful. And then the heresy event was the most well attended it had ever been. We had 24 players, or no, 24. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had 29, but the week of and even the night before had a couple of cancellations due to some unforeseen and unfortunate circumstances. So, but still, even at 24, it was the best attended heresy event in the 4 years that we have been running it. So. From that perspective, everything went phenomenally. Found out that I have a shitload of terrain. I was not aware of the fact that I owned as much terrain as I do. Even found some more that I didn't know I had today when Jake and I were in my storage unit, which is not as magical as Eric seems to think it is. But
I mean, it was pretty fucking magical.
I
mean,
it was
maybe it's not like Smog's horde, but it's definitely a troll hole level for sure.
Well, we went out there.
Like a
went to the game store, and Mike and Eric were playing some Adeptus Titanicus. So Jake was kind of just chilling out to the side, and I don't have anything built, but I do own some models. So I was like,
Apparently.
"Hey, Jake, Jake, why don't you come with me to my storage unit so I can, there's a couple of things I want to pick up, and I'll see if I can find my Titanicus stuff. Start, putting that together." So we ran out there and started going through boxes, and yeah, I have just enough Titanicus stuff to like eke out a playable force.
You could say that.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Just judging from what I remember, you said you have a full Corsair maniple and a full Regia maniple.
Yeah,
not,
I think
not including
well-
any knights that he has
Oh yeah,
also.
so plus a couple of knights.
I think the final total was two warlords, five reavers, and I have a sixth one like partially built somewhere. I don't know where it currently is. Six scout warhounds, two porphyrins, and then a number of Cerastus knights and Questoris knights. I don't even know how many of those are. And maybe tomorrow a Nemesis Warbringer.
Jesus.
I really like that model.
Yeah. It's a great.
So
model.
yeah, I mean but like I got into it, when it first came out, but didn't actually put any time towards building anything, and just random happenstance and some good trades and good sales. Like I got all those Reavers I got because the local gaming store like had them for $15. So I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll get those.
Yeah. So, we want to talk tonight about the muster itself, kind of just relive some of our highlights from it. But not to get ahead of ourselves. What's everybody been working on in the hobby the past month?
Titans, lots and lots of Titans. So I've got all of my Legio Interfector Titans are built. They're all corrupted. At least all the three of them that I built since recording are all fairly heavily corrupted. Uh, they look pretty good. Got to play with them today and pushed some Tempestus Titans around. I've played 2 games where I've had a Power Claw Warlord, and both times it has killed things with that Power Claw. So I think that goes pretty well. In addition, I have opened, built, and painted my War Master Iconoclast. Finished that last night. It's really cool, but I'm glad it's over.
It's corntastic.
Is that the one
I
that you
went
like meat marbled?
Yeah, I went with Legio Volpa for that one. Either just as an addition to my Impaler's force, kind of yeah, we don't know this guy. He just kind of showed up, started screaming and killing things. Or I might just replace the Impalers with Volpa. I haven't really decided yet. But the it came out really well. I'm very
Yeah, it looks
pleased
good.
with how that marbling turned out. It's a little subtle on some panels for my liking, but where you can see it, you can really see it, and it looks really good. And
Yeah.
of course, I'm a fan of anything bone trim included.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything that I've seen it looks really good.
Yeah, no,
You got a
it's really
giant
cool.
ass chain axe for it.
A giant fucking axe. I gave him a tail because every good corn titan needs a tail.
It's true.
It's unfortunate that you can't give it like rules to be a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I figure it just counts as part of the organic protrusions, which is one of the corruptions you can give a titan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on Titans too. I pretty much painted a whole maniple.
Boy, you sure have.
In the past, I was doing the math earlier because somebody asked me about it. I think it's been about 2 weeks. I painted up pretty much a whole maniple of Legio Machina, which is my synthwave '80s retro Wildberry Pop Tart themed Titan Legio that all are eye bleedingly bright.
They have more colors than I knew actually existed.
Yeah, but somehow still work together.
Yeah, no, they look good.
picture of him on the screen right now, probably. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan. They
Jake, you can't just draw the curtain back like that.
God,
Oh my god.
uh, the pictures do not convey how aggressively orange the bases are. I use the fluorescent orange pigment from Hera models, and
No, yeah,
it's
no, I
fucking bright.
can attest to that. Like they are safety vest like reflective orange. It's ridiculous.
It's fucking
I'm
cool.
into
So I
it.
painted. The Titans' names are all based off of cyberpunk things, one way or the other. So my Warhounds are Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell. My Reaver is Panther Modern, which is a Neuromancer reference. The Warbringer is Cold Iron, which is a reference from another William Gibson novel, Peripheral. And then my Warlord's Wintermute, which is another Neuromancer reference. Wintermute's the name of the AI in Neuromancer. So, still got another Reaver and another Warlord I can do if I don't bum more stuff off of Ben, and then just an ass load of Knights that I can do something with at some point. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good, cool, like just palette cleanser project, just kind of banging it out.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next big push is try to get a mana pull together so I can actually play something.
And then as we speak, I'm scraping. You can hear it. I'm working on. We're kind of starting to get into a little bit of Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Army projects, and I picked up some Night Goblins today. So I'm scraping some mold lines off of some used pre-painted Night Goblins that are gonna. I bought 40 goblins today, so that's a whopping 200 points out of 1,500 that we want to start with. So fucking life.
40 down, 400 to go.
Yeah,
sound
kind of.
sound like Ledoux with his grot
Yeah, I was
project.
gonna say,
Yeah.
John, the do life.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna jump in with that statement because that's actually what I'm working on as well. So for anyone who hasn't heard of it, there is a fan made Warhammer fantasy game or continuation called the Warhammer Armies Project. It's been around for a little while, but it's Warhammer Fantasy. It's a continuation off of 8th edition, which was the last Warhammer Fantasy Battles edition, and the rules have been updated. Every army that existed back in 8th is updated, and they've gone out and they've updated some of the either discontinued armies from years past, or some that didn't even have an actual army book ever. They've kind of updated that, and like the community is pretty active, pretty regular updates, and it's just something a little bit different than the heresy stuff and the sci-fi stuff that we've been getting into. So that's actually what I'm working on right now, is getting my dwarves all together. Also found out that I probably have enough to do a chaos army.
Yeah. In the said storage shed, because you also had a bunch of other dwarves in there too. You had a bunch of Skull Pass stuff. You had like 6 pony carts.
Yeah, I did have a dwarf army that I was converting for Age of Sigmar, and I've got that in the car, so I kind of get a group together to figure out, like, all right, how much of this do I want for Sigmar? Do I want any of it for Sigmar, or am I just going to go full tilt into Armies Project? And I'm kind of leaning towards just sticking with fantasy, because I've got so many Stormcast Eternals. If I really wanted to play Age of Sigmar, I'll just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I steered away from Chaos a little bit, because that is my Age of Sigmar army, and it seems like dumb to like double dip, like do the same army for 2 different game systems. Because
Yeah.
like, unfortunately, obviously the difference being the bases, so like they just are not compatible. Whereas like between Age of Sigmar and 40k, yeah, sure, you can do like a demon army and probably be fine. but between fantasy and Age of Sigmar, it doesn't really work. So that's why I went something completely left field. Been waffling about it for a while. Had some used goblins at the store. Also remembered that my friends are trying to get rid of a bunch of goblins, so like just seemed to work out. And just something completely different. I never do horde armies, so this will be fun. And pretty quick to paint up, I would think, because I mean they're 90% robe, so just like spray them black, paint some details in, they'll be good to go.
As long as you don't do something stupid like decide to put like a check mark pattern on all of the robes or some
No,
shit.
no, absolutely
Don't say
not.
that. He'll do it.
No, I will not. This is not gonna be a high effort project.
No, not for me either. Like I don't know if any of y'all actually played Warhammer Fantasy, but like I really enjoyed that game system. Like I understand why it kind of fell out given the the circumstances of the time, but like I always thought that was just a major
Blunder.
loss for the gaming community. And like
I did have a Tomb King's army, but I think I only played it probably a dozen different times, and it wasn't very large.
yeah, and there's a big like I don't know. There's a big clamoring for fantasy games right now. Like, and I don't think that Age of Sigmar is like scratching that itch for a lot of players. Like, to me, it's pretty obvious because how I try to stay up to date with like the 3D print community, and like there's just so many designers that are coming out with all of these fantasy projects, and that's just being fed by games like Total War Warhammer. Like people are really into that, like that concept of big armies, rank and file. And like I like the new edition of Age of Sigmar, but it doesn't scratch the same tactical itch
Right.
that
And
fantasy
and
did.
then I mean there's plenty of rank and flank games out there, but like people want to stick with the IP they know and like.
Well, I
And
mean, yeah, you've got a couple of options, but you've got the biggest ones that come to my mind are Ninth Age and Kings of War from Mantic.
there's Song of Ice and Fire as well, which I've
Yeah.
seen really
Oh yeah,
good things
but
about.
that's very that you're very limited in what you can play with that, since that's all
Humans.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a
Yeah,
pretty
it's hard.
pretty decent variety, but yeah, definitely not as much variety as say something like Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's what I've been working on.
yeah, but you, Gray,
So, man, for the first time in a long time, I can say I've actually been working on heresy stuff
how about that?
and not fortification.
Are you still
Yes.
working on your Emperor's Children?
Yeah, man, I've been working. I've got it. Other than a few bits and bobs, which I have my destroyer company built now. Other than a few bits and bobs, and I'm putting together some biker squads. I'm simultaneously messing around with improving / expanding my Maru Scara list, which Ben got to see last week, was it?
Yep. Last
Yeah,
Sunday.
last week. Yeah. And then I'm also putting together my Mournable Destroyer Company from Emperor's Children. And I'm really excited for that to hit the table.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
So have you just
gonna
rolled
be
that
super
into
nice.
Emperor's Children instead of Ultramarines? 'Cause I thought you were doing an Ultramarines destroyer thing.
Mm. So the Ultramarines thing I wanted to do was a force made up of destroyed companies.
Oh,
Like
okay.
just drips and drabs, like a post.
Like a Shattered Legion style army?
Or like a post
Yeah.
cal.
Yeah, like a post Calth, like everyone's just scrambling up and it's kind of an ad hoc formation of whatever guys they could get together. Their armor's all beat up and mismatched. Kind of thing. Sort of an art project thing. I won't say it's stalled, but I'm definitely holding that in the wings to see what happens in the next 2 weeks here with Horus Heresy. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be my kind of go-to new project.
Yeah, because
I
we're
think.
we're T minus 10 days until what's pretty widely expected to be the Heresy reveal at Adepticon,
At the time. Yeah,
which
so
I'm hoping I
it's
get to
gonna
catch
be.
live, but we'll see.
Man, I just really hope that we have not overblown it. Like we're definitely sure it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out instead of an addition, we get another Imperial Fist character.
Well, so I mean, like, or just a model for a named character that's existed for 10 years. Um,
Okay, hold on. Question on that. So, would you rather have New Edition or actual Iron Havocs?
Definitely new edition.
Yeah,
Iron Havocs.
I don't even know what Iron Havocs are.
I'd rather have Iron Havocs. I'll do you one better than Iron Havocs or Slab versus New Edition. How about Salamander's specific infantry character?
Yeah, I mean, I would like that too,
But
but I'd still rather have a new edition.
so like obviously like we've all heard about the rumors and we've all seen the screenshots and the whatever the leaks. So I don't think we need to talk about that. But
Nah.
as of today, I heard from other folks around the community that the Age of Darkness rulebook has gone out of stock or out temporarily unavailable or no longer available everywhere except the U.S. So like they're out of stock with the Age of Darkness rulebook everywhere. So I don't know if that meant that it got yoinked off the store or if they ran out and they're just not going to make anymore or like. But I think that means something.
Doesn't mean nothing, that's for sure. That would be my opinion. It's not
I mean,
nothing.
it could also just be something as innocuous as their shipping crate stuck in the fucking
Middle of the Atlantic or something.
Yeah,
stuck in the
that does
fucking
seem to
Panama
happen
Canal
with
again.
some regularity.
Yeah. But yeah. So, how about speaking of rumors and leaks and developments in the heresy? How about some picks of the week, boys?
Ooh, pick of the
Oof,
week.
that's a fantastic question. I'm really glad that you asked
Pick
it.
of the week or pick of the leak.
Ooh, I mean, that one's easier to me.
I have paid no attention to the leaks in.
I mean,
I know that's terrible, but I've been avoiding them in order to be pleasantly surprised with whatever we get instead of disappointed or underwhelmed.
well, you can't take anything for like 100% granted. Like they're leaks,
Yeah.
and like you have to have a fair amount of salt. Um,
Well, this
but
isn't even salt. This is just me going, you know what? I don't want to have any salt at all. I just want to be
Well, no,
happy with
salt
no, you
as
have
in
whatever.
to
like
take it with yeah, you
yeah.
have to take it with a grain of salt. Like you can't
Yeah.
assume that they're going to be exactly as stated. Like that's what I meant. Not be angry at it, you salty bastard.
I mean, there's a not
Sorry.
0% chance that like different playtesters got different versions of the rules, so GW knows exactly who's been leaking what by who got what versions of the rules.
Yeah,
That would
that
be
is
actually
also
pretty
true.
hysterical.
I think that the one thing that I am going, or my brain is telling me is definitely going to happen is the change to monstrous creatures for dreadnoughts. And I will, I've kind of like touched on it. Well, we have talked about it a couple times on the podcast, but it's a weird thought, like because I play with a fair amount of dreadnoughts in my list, and it's definitely going. I think that's going to be the biggest like change in thought while we're playing. But I think it could be one of the best upgrades to the game in general.
Yeah,
Because I
it
mean
would
that
be pretty good, at least as far as survivability.
well,
And I'll touch on that when I talk about my games at the muster.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like I mean, there's a lot of different ways that it could be implemented, but I mean, I'm just thinking like even castiferums, which you very rarely ever see except in very specific lists. You normally instead of a cast, why would I take a castiferum when I could just take a cordis or something for the points? But I think you're going to see a lot more dreadnoughts, but like. Yeah, they're more survivable at the same time, like adding weakness. Now, bolters can damage them.
They'll
So
get absolutely fucking annihilated by those Dark Angels Terminators.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they will have answers certainly, but I mean they get fucking annihilated by standard assault terminators
Fury of the
with
Legion.
yeah, Fury of the Legion's going to do stuff. I mean, Chain Fists will probably still do a lot of damage to them. So I mean,
And I
there's
think
just
it also is nice because it puts legions on an equal playing field with Mechanicum. Because like anybody that's been abused by a cyberneticalist knows that like if you're not ready to deal with monstrous creatures, they can be really hard to deal with. Like I think everybody
yeah.
has some kind of answer for tanks and infantry, but monstrous creatures are kind of a different ball game. And so not only does it give legions another access to something and have some variety, but it also is going to get people to start thinking about dealing with monstrous creatures.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think that by itself will change the game in a potentially very satisfactory way. So we're not going to know until it ultimately drops. But I am looking forward to it, and like I really just like that it's kind of reinvigorating parts of the community to like get kind of excited about it. I think the thing I'm most excited for is like the change this is going to potentially bring to just the image of heresy in general. Like now, instead of being this, boutique, side of the game that only a small portion of the gaming community really has taken a hold of, now it'll be more accessible. Yeah, there's some downsides to being more accessible, but there's a lot of pros that can come from that as well. And the way that our local community has developed and has congealed, like I think that's going to be a real big net positive for us, because I think it's going to give us access to a lot more players that are going to be interested in something that's actively supported by Games Workshop.
So
And
one of the things that I had brought up to Jake earlier is with GW kind of making the statement that they want Heresy to be one of their big three, kind of alongside 40K and Age of Sigmar. Do you guys think we're going to be like seeing at least the rule books, if not like some actual models in stores?
oh yeah, definitely. I think we'll definitely see more more units available at stores. I think that there's still going to be plenty of stuff that's going to be direct only. But considering that, the 18 armies, actually no, like 20 armies all have access to 90% the same units. Like there's a lot of overlap in the amount of the available items that you can use, and they're still available in 9th Ed 40K too. So it's a very safe, stock for most game stores. Like you can still use a Spartan or a Leviathan in 9th Ed 40K. I see it,
And a lot of
fairly
people do,
regularly.
yeah.
Leviathans and
see it
Derridaeus are really popular.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if they make the change that some of those, current resin kits turn into plastics, which, if those leaks of the, quote starter box are real, the Spartan is turning into plastic. So you could see a lot of those models be available. It probably won't be a massive launch in terms of new models right at the start.
Sure.
But I think they'll ramp up relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see what we get. Hopefully,
So I guess
enjoyable game.
we're the leaks in general your pick of the week, Ben, or would we just kind of go off on a little tangent?
I mean, I don't really have anything specific. There hasn't been another exemplary battle. Usually that's the one that I go back to, like, because those are really good releases. Haven't seen anything specifically heresy related, but the leaks and everything that's like generating excitement, like that is by itself exciting, because it means like there's a lot of possibility that comes with this potential new release. And no one like it's really hard. I mean, just look at the Warhammer Armies project that we're jumping into. Like, yeah, we're getting into it, but you don't. Who wants to make a big investment and jump into a game system that they have a fear is going to be dead soon?
Yeah.
Right.
So if this comes out, even if it's like a one and done, like they just drop everything, they update everything to a new baseline level, and they just kind of coast on that for a few years, that's still better than what we have currently.
Yeah,
And
fair.
if you don't like it, you don't have to play it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, worst case scenario, we just keep playing the game we already enjoy. And I
Exactly.
mean, we've already started to reach out to other aspects of or parts of the community to give us new options and new rules. So we'll just keep doing that. There's literally no way for this to fail us.
Yeah, no, it's gonna work out no matter what.
The Games Workshop police are not going to come and take your toys away. Like, you will have
Though
your
they
army
may
still.
genuinely try in some cases.
They very well may want to.
They
Yep.
can come pry it from my
Well,
greasy Dorito stained hands.
I mean, I think all of us are fucked as far as going to any kind of official GW event anyway, because a good chunk of our shit's 3D printed.
I mean, I would.
Or just third party in general.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I would like them to, tell me which of my stuff is 3D printed.
Yeah, I doubt they could pick it out on fucking line. Honestly, people
Especially if
running
it's
the
painted.
Yep.
So, take home message, kids, is paint your toys, and then nobody can yell at you for them.
Fully painted is for closers.
It's true. I don't know that I have a particular pick of the week either. I think enough time's gone past now that Dominion Zephon and Fafnir Ron have gotten talked into their fucking early graves. So like I think that's not really worthwhile to talk about. But yeah, just in general, just cool new stuff for Heresy. And yeah. Let's see. I don't know. Somebody else can go while I talk about see if I can find something cool I saw on Instagram or something.
Yeah, I've got a pick, so I'm gonna kind of veer way off of this particular topic, and beat a dead horse a little bit. I'll admit, but so
We don't
Reddit
do
has
that on this.
been pretty
Never.
fucking cringe in they've died down a little bit since we last recorded, but they've been pretty fucking cringe the last couple months. And one of the topics posted a little while ago was basically like, why don't you guys like Primaris? They so cool. And someone posted something very interesting. Is actually a link to a comment that was posted when 8th edition and Primaris actually did release, several years ago. It likens. I'll read the whole thing because why not? It's a really good comment, I think. So basically, imagine DC Comics. They're sitting around trying to decide how to boost comic sales over the next few years. I know, a writer says, let's make bigger Batman. The market analyst shuffles through some data and says, well, there may actually be consumer interest in making Batman bigger. The storyline does reference him being a peak physical specimen, but he's always drawn the same size as other male characters. I think the fans would react well to a larger Batman. No, says the writer, I don't mean that we should just draw Batman bigger. That would be stupid, and I wouldn't be creating anything new. Let's make bigger Batman. He's a totally new character. Says the analyst, but the writer presses hard for what he's calling his creative contribution to the legacy of comics, and the director likes the projection for how new characters boost sales. So in the new series, they introduce bigger Batman. It turns out that Bruce Wayne has a brother. Chad Wayne is bigger and stronger and faster and better looking than Bruce. He was separated at birth through a hospital mix up, and his adopted parents were killed in a mugging gone wrong in a way that was just like Bruce's story, but more tragic. He took over the adopted family's business empire that was just like Bruce's, but bigger, and now he has come to Gotham in its hour of need to do Bruce's job, but better. He has the bigger Batmobile and bigger Batarangs, and pretty soon he has the bigger Bat signal. It's actually hard to tell the bat signal from the bigger bat signal if they aren't both on together, since really they're exactly the same except in proportion. but the bigger engine in the bigger Batmobile gets bigger Batman to the scene first, unless he's solving a bigger crime somewhere else, in which case people look mildly disappointed when they realize it's just Batman that has arrived, and will often choose to wait for his brother. So thanks, Batman. We really appreciate you showing up to save us from this bank robbery, but we'll be fine, really, and bigger Batman should be along at any minute. Pretty soon, Bruce Wayne stops putting on the bat suit at all, which is just as well because the bat signal, now known as the little bat signal, has been put in storage. Bruce develops a drinking problem, and eventually people in Gotham forget that little Batman was ever a thing. In the story the writer has created, all of this makes perfect sense. Commissioner Gordon likes bigger Batman because he's better at solving crime. The citizens of Gotham like bigger Batman because he makes them safer. Vicky Vale likes bigger Batman because he's better looking and has a bigger dick. As a comic fan, I fucking hate bigger Batman, and not for any kind of internal inconsistency with the story. I hate bigger Batman because, with a few words, with nothing more than a few exclamation points really, the writer has made a beloved character with decades of rich backstory into the smaller and less impressive version of itself. Bigger Batman doesn't add anything positive to the story unless you are actually going for satire, but he does fuck up the existing character of Batman, and that's why I hate Primaris Marines. So I think that illustrates it pretty well, the issues that and I think most people that dislike Primaris have with Primaris. As much as that point has been driven into the ground already, I think that's a good illustration.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I think they're a bad execution of a decent idea.
Yeah,
I
because like I
think.
said, if you want to make bigger Batman, just draw Batman bigger. People will probably like that. And that's what we're seeing with, some of the scale updates with newer Heresy models and characters in particular, is they're getting better, and most people are like, yeah, sure, why not? Just do it.
I think we can all
Yeah.
agree. I think this group especially can go ahead and agree that biggest Batman is best Batman.
Yeah.
Biggest Batman is best Batman. I mean,
Biggest Batman
duh.
is best Batman.
God damn it.
That's why the best Batman will always be Jim Gordon in a mecha suit. That's an actual
Batbuster.
fucking thing.
The Batbuster armor.
Yeah, he literally had Batbuster armor. It's just a big old fucking mecha. Like it was like I don't know, bigger than him. It wasn't like true like Power Rangers kind of mecha sized, but it was big enough that it was biggest Batman.
So bigger than like Ben Affleck mecha Batman from
Oh yeah,
Batman
definitely.
versus Superman.
Prior to Jim Gordon putting that on in the last couple of years, best Batman was Dark Knight Returns Batman, because he was just fucking beyond jacked. He was just a brick with a fucking cowl on. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the mustache. I wish he hadn't got rid of the mustache in that story, because he started out with the story. I'm like, are we going to see mustache Batman? Because that's the best thing I could think of, period.
Well, you can't fit the cowl on over the mustache, so.
Then you just cut the cowl a little bit shorter. So it's like instead of having the part between the nose and the mouth, it just ends at the nose, and you just have mustache cover the rest of it. Just like Yosemite Sam style, just covers the rest of it.
God damn it.
And no one will ever know it's the one guy who in normal life, without a costume, has a Yosemite Sam mask. Some jackass will point it out, and everyone will be like, no, that's obviously a different mustache. You're such a tool.
Yeah, you just put glasses on the mustache.
Yeah, not all handlebars are the same, bud. Stop being racist or whatever.
Or whatever. Oh, God. But yeah, no, that was a good analogy.
Mustaches.
That's a good analogy. I enjoyed that. Yeah. So how about you, Gray? What's your pick of the week? Besides Mustachioed Batman.
I mean, Mustachio Dorn could be number 2, but I feel like it's been beat to death. No,
Matt's working on a TTS Dorn right now, replete with mustache.
Centurion Dorn.
Yeah.
Centurion.
Sendorian, yeah.
Dornian, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, man. So, in a more serious thing, I put a picture of it up on our screenshot up on our chat here, which our viewers may or may not get to see, but somebody did a knockout fucking job painting up Fulgrim, and looking at the hair, I think they might have edited/changed his hair a little bit.
It's Norrison Crusoe. He's a fucking nutty good painter, and also a member of our
Also, that
painting
is a
lodge.
different head entirely.
Yeah, looking at it, like the face is different too.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a not zero chance that he just like resculpted the head.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how he do.
It looks honestly, that head looks better than the one that comes stock.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not a high bar.
I always thought the stock head was a bit goofy. The model is good. The head has always been goofy, in my opinion.
Blow up doll face he has.
Yeah, his face kind of looks. It's not really blow up doll. It's worse than that. It's more like the wacky waving inflatable arm. Wacky
waving arm inflatable flailing tube man. Wacky
Yeah.
waving arm inflatable flailing tube man.
Yes.
Hi, this is Al Harrington from Al Harrington's Wacky Waving Arm and Inflatable Flailing Tube Man Emporium in Weekapog. Currently, we are overstocked with Wacky Waving Arm Inflatable Flailing Tube Men, and we are passing the savings on to you.
Also,
This guy gets
Fulgrim. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great fucking looking paint job. It's very can tell he's a Spanish or European Italian painter because it like very very sketchy, lots of brush strokes and color.
The pizza stain.
And oh my god.
And the fact that the post, like, it has just hashtag bibbida bobbida boopity.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right. He has the emoji for the fingers all together thing down below where I cut it off.
Yep, chef's kiss. Yep.
I hate it here. Jesus.
That's a great paint
So
job.
It is. It is a really good job. No doubt about it.
The runner-up, if I had a runner-up, it would be these heavy destroyer models I put together. The prints on those, because those are just fucking gorgeous. And I will put a picture of those up on the chat as we talk here.
Those were some custom things that I did. I took like 5 different designers' shits and just started like mixing them together digitally and then printed them out. And yeah, I printed some for myself. I was pretty happy with myself.
They're gorgeous. I have assembled my squad here, and I'm going to take this picture.
And just like there's something cool about the imagery of just cataphracti terminators just dual fisting like Volkite chargers and just mowing down shit.
Yeah, heavy destroyers are definitely way cool, for sure.
That is one thing that I'm concerned with. Like I'm hoping that whatever the changes are in the new heresy rule set, we're still able to like use the Mournival stuff. Obviously, there's going to be some things that are going to need to be modified, but I'm hoping that it doesn't completely invalidate everything because there's some really cool shit in there.
Yeah, there you go. I threw them up on the chat. They're PFG. Into them.
So I think I figured out looking through Instagram what my pick of the week is. It's not anything particular. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but my pick of the week is Tortuga Bay. Not only because they make fantastic products, but because they are like literally on the run for their fucking lives right now and are documenting such on Instagram. Because they are a Ukrainian company, so they are hella on the run right now, and they are pretty much my daily source of news as to like what's actually going on over there, and just God bless them.
Yeah.
They do have they've ceased sales of product on their website for obvious reasons. They can't really take the warehouse with them, but they are selling essentially NFTs, but they're basically just selling donations so that they can live. So if you like the Tortuga Bay products and miniatures and you like what they do, consider throwing them a few bucks so they can buy food and water for their family while they're fleeing the country, essentially.
Yeah, no.
We'll have that linked down below. So not to make it too dour or anything. I figured that was worth a mention.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so with that, I don't know. I don't know that we need to get down to the weeds with a miss of the week. I think we can just move on because I'm sure people feel some
Shorty
kind of way
episode.
about some of the stuff that's coming out about heresy. So, whatever. Take it, leave it. As we've said, rewind 15 minutes or so. Like, if you don't like the new game, don't fucking play it. Like, it's fine. You can continue to play the old game. I mean, Battlefleet Gothic guys have been, playing that for 20 years now. So,
It's
whatever.
true.
Get over it. So with that, we'll roll on into Muster Recall. So, I don't know. I don't know who wants to start us off, but Ben, maybe walk us through kind of the event as a whole and kind of what some of the special missions and rules and scenarios were.
how
Mission 1, the Siege of Dunkeld, just while you're pulling it up. It was, what the fuck deployment map is this? Well, attacker defender was basically securing deployment zones, kind of your typical opening salvo type mission, securing the beachhead. Just two armies straight on going at each other.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, I got it now.
Traders must break the loyalist defenses and destroy their morale by taking their fortified position. Traders securing loyalist objective in their deployment zone 4 VP. Contesting's worth 2 VP. Loyalists must force the traders onto the back foot by outmaneuvering them. Secure one objective in deployment zone A, 3 VP. Securing both objectives in deployment zone A, 6 VP. Contested objectives are worth 1 VP, 3 VP if both are contested. 5 game turns, no special rules can modify this. Slay the Warlord, first strike, line breaker, price of failure.
Yep.
So, yeah. I guess I don't know. Did you have anything more you wanted to say about that mission in particular?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, a couple things. So, I think it's worth mentioning that there is a kind of a grand design for how these events ultimately get run, and the philosophy that goes behind the mission building. Like I'm not going to sit here and say that I am the best mission writer. I'm not. But the idea or the purpose of the missions is not necessarily to be fair. Like I think it's a common misnomer for competitive events. Yeah, you want things to be fair because it is competitive, and you don't want to give the different sides a specific advantage. But for a narrative event, you have a little bit more leeway, and so I've never purported that the events are going to be completely fair and balanced. I certainly don't want to do anything that's going to be unenjoyable or breaks anything. But some points skewing here and there, or putting one side kind of on the back foot, to go along with how the narrative has unfolded in events past. Like that goes into the writing. So and like non-standard deployments, non-standard objective placement and stuff like that. Like all of that, it goes into it. I mean, I've definitely had some misses or some things that didn't quite work the way I really wanted them to, but for the most part, I think everything went well. But that's while we're going over the missions, like that, I felt like that kind of concept like was worth mentioning.
Yeah. So who wants to talk about their first game?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I had my Swiftblade Night Lords that you guys have heard done to death. Finally got to bring that to an event. Short recap: it was bike squads, Atramentar, Fire Raptor, and a Cerberus, and the necessary HQs. I was playing against Dark Angels. He had You had a Leviathan, a Contemptor, two of those Knight Cenobium in Land Raiders, Corswain, and a Spartan with some Deathwing companions running Pride of the Legion.
Do you remember
So
who that was?
that was Jesse.
Okay, nice. Hi, Jesse.
So turn one, I actually ended up seizing the initiative, which, from what I hear, was a pretty common theme across the event. Like a
It
lot
really
more than
was.
you would think it was.
It was definitely
Um,
more than 1/6 of the games.
Yeah. So it worked out really well for me because the Cerberus popped that Leviathan turn one. Um,
Yikes.
yeah, which is feels good for me, a bit of a feels bad for him, I'm sure. Um, Meanwhile, I got the Atramentar came in turn two in Deep Strike. I think the Fire Raptor came in two or three. Um, what ended up kind of happening was sort of a split around the big line of sight blocker in the middle, where all the Terminators were on one side, and then the other side had the Spartan with Corswain. Corswain did end up killing two of my Centurions in those squads, but I didn't lose any entire bike squads. I don't think. I did secure both objectives, I believe. I ended up with a maximum victory points. The fun part was so one I'd killed one of his Knight Cenobian units entirely. There was one remaining Terminator in the other squad. I charged it with my Atramentar, right? Directly behind them was the Land Raider that the Terminator had come out of, which I then charged with my Praetor. I melta-bombed said Land Raider, blowing it up entirely, uh, which killed both of my remaining Atramentar and not his Knight Zenobia. So that was fun. And then next turn, I just threw a single crack grenade with the Praetor and killed that Terminator anyway. So drive by lol. And then I did something silly and hovered the Fire Raptor to try and get Slay the Warlord, which of course he charged the Fire Raptor then. Didn't do quite enough. I managed to back up and then just murk Corswain with a Fire Raptor. So all in all, very good game one for me and for the traders. Ave Dominus Nox.
So, because of a imbalance with some people that showed up late or something like that, I actually was playing traders as well with my Blood Angels. The first game I played was against Andrew and his Salamanders, who also ended up winning the Best Painted Award given out by myself. So congrats on that, bud. They're a great looking army. So the game pretty much came down to I was running a Lord of War in my list for like pretty much the first time ever. I've never really used them, and I've never really had a desire to, but
Same.
just for whatever reason, I brought a Macarius Omega, which is the plasma variant of the Macarius. It's pretty much just a Warhound plasma blast gun attached to a tank chassis. And with Raldoron as my warlord, I could pick my warlord trait from the Astartes table. So I picked a World Burner, which allows me to give D3 units in the army shred. With D3 units with template weapons in the army shred. So the Macarius was rocking around all day with shred on it. Andrew's list was not at all prepared to deal with that. It was mostly infantry, and the infantry that didn't the units that weren't infantry got summarily killed by everything else I had. I had a couple of Land Raiders with units in them. I think I had the most effective round of shooting with a single Land Raider that I think I've ever had. It shot one pair of las cannons one way, blowing up a dreadnought. No, I'm sorry, blowing up a rhino, and then shot the other las cannon the other way and blew a chain fist off of his dreadnought. So I was just running around with a Volkite culverin on it for the rest of the game. the Macarius, I think, did somewhere in the neighborhood of like 70 wounds to Astartes,
Good
which
lord.
like wiped like 3 to 4 units through the course of that game. It was unkind. It was a brutal game that I don't really feel very good about, but like I don't know. I guess that's what
Win the
happens.
win.
That's what happens. I guess beginner's luck as far as Lord of the Wars are concerned. But yeah, that was a rough one for Andrew. I'm sorry. I hope the rest of your day went better. So I don't know if I maxed out victory points, but I got quite a few for the traders. I think it was 6 or 7, something like that.
I'll go next. I played against.
That's good since you're all that's left.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I know you set this one out. I forgot. I played against Pat first round. I believe his name is Pat. He plays. He's one of the Richmond boys. Got a really cool like Dark Mechanicum army that he's converted with a lot of like bits of the whatever that AOS Ghost faction is.
Night Haunt.
Night Haunt and Skaven
Skaven,
bits
I
are
believe, yeah.
thrown in there. Yeah. Really cool army. Really super tough army.
Lots of armigers in that list.
Yeah. The armigers were tough. My knight, when it got to him and put hands on the armigers, killed everything it touched, and then got like nickeled and dimed to death throughout the match. I was hoping to get it on his warlord there, that Magos, and introduce him to that strength D chain fist, but it was not to be. And then just hordes of thralls were just tough to take off the table before they could, get up to and sit on top of the objectives.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of in a weird spot for objective holding. It wasn't in position necessarily because my squads were mounted in land raiders. So
You're running militia, right?
yeah, I was running militia. I was running kind of a leaf blower list. So, which if I'm in position works great, and if I'm not, then I'm kind of chasing angles to try to put templates on things the whole game, which is
You
kind of what I did.
had a lot of tanks, like lots of
I
land
had
raiders,
Lots of
land
tanks.
raiders, Leman Russes.
I think I had 8 tanks on that list. 6 Leman Russes and 2 Land Raiders.
Yeah.
And if I could have fit another Land Raider in, I would have, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because the Land Raiders did work at this event. I'll say that.
Same. I think Land Raiders are
Yeah.
I mean, they were already my favorite, but I think after the event, I think they're even more my new favorite.
Like super favorite, yeah.
Land Raiders are best raiders.
Bay. They're Bay. But yeah, I had a good time. He's a real chill guy. I enjoyed the game a lot.
Yeah.
I will say it reaffirms my off-stated opinion. There's no way to run Mechanicum that isn't just absolutely a nightmare to play against. There are no bad options in Mechanicum. I
think Eric and I worked out the other day that like the only way to run mech that's like any kind of like sporting way is just like a bunch of Thalax. And even then, it's like, yikes, they still have stuff that can...
It's still Thalax.
Yeah, and even then, there's still T5, 3 wounds, jetpack, like lightning guns are strength 7.
Annoying ass, like, photon thrusters and shit. Like,
yeah.
Shining a laser in your eye.
Yeah.
Basically. But it was a good time. I had fun. I enjoyed it. Would play him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, heading into round 2,
the mystery rag.
The mystery RAG.
So, okay. So, to Eric's chagrin, we have been ragging on this story for a while, but
Boo.
I'm not. I just wanted to throw in just a funny little joke,
Let's do a silly
for the
one.
local guys to just get a giggle at. That's really it. But oh god, what the fuck? My computer just did something funky. I'm pulling it back up. So basically, for this one, this mission was basically there was a piece of tech left on the battlefield. Because there's been constant battles in this sector for years now, and the the mystery rag, or which stands for the radiation artillery guide. It's basically the objective is in the middle of the table, and if you get a unit in within 3 inches of it, instead of firing their normal weapons, they can use the mystery rag weapon, which was a 36-inch large blast with poison and pinning at AP2. It's a
And
fairly
flashbang.
Oh yeah, which I'm fairly certain that the poison and the fleshbang cancel each other out, which I didn't think of whenever I put it on, wrote it the first time.
Well,
I
they
think
don't cancel out. It's just when you have flashbang, the poison doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It matters like defensively for some things. Like I think Death Guard with their 4-up feel no pain against poison weapons, things like that.
sure, but I didn't think about that when I wrote it. I think my brain was telling me that fleshbang did something different,
well,
but
you're also
just
doing it for the walls.
yeah. I mean, it was just a kind of a mess up on my part, but certainly nothing that ultimately mattered. And from what I was told, with feedback after the fact, that there were a couple of tables that utilized it to great effect, and then there were some where, yeah, it just kind of flew off and did not do absolutely anything.
I
But
was on one of the former.
oh yeah, Did you eat it? Well,
Uh,
you can get in that in a minute,
yeah.
but basically the
Spoiler.
objective is a weapon, but it is also the primary objective. So primary objectives for this mission were: the attacker gains 3 points if he controls the objective at the end of the game. Defender gains 3 points if the attacker does not control the objective and it's not contested. If it's contested, then both players score a VP, with secondary mission objectives of first strike, last man standing, and price of failure.
It was
So
essentially a
again,
King of the Hill mission. Like we were fighting
exactly.
over the mystery rag.
Yeah. All right. So Eric, why don't you start off this one? Who was your game against?
Yeah, so I was playing same guy that Gray played in game one, playing Pat with his Mechanicum, and I'm not gonna lie, this one was pretty rough. Um, it's like you said, it's tough to build a not dick kicking Mechanicum list. What really there wasn't anything in particular that I would say was super harsh. It was just a combination of things. Although I will say that the 30k rules for armigers are a little ungodly. AP3, and you just get to ignore cover when you want. You just get to have Sunder when you want. They're very good at basically anything,
Yeah.
which would made it ironic that I was way less afraid of his Melta gun armature that was coming from my Cerberus, because the autocannon ones were all going for my bikes, and there was just nothing I could do about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I
was
think that
it was
it is
yeah.
fair
Go
to
on.
say that they're a pretty, like, those guns in particular are a pretty hard counter to your list.
Yeah. It also yeah, it doesn't help that certain rules were forgotten on in the Armigers' favor. But I mean, he was an okay guy to play against. I would play against him again. In fact, I did play against him using this particular list at that Richmond doubles event
Hmm.
before, and things were very solidly in my favor that time. So I don't feel too bad about it. But there were some choices that I made that seemed like good ideas at the time. Because only infantry could fire the radiation artillery guide, I did not deep strike my Terminators. deployed them pretty close up because at the time I thought I was going to have the first turn. Lo and behold, I was seized upon. Um, and that in itself wasn't that bad because we were one of those tables where it didn't really do anything. He fired it once, and you know, luckily it was like the only thing he shot that didn't ignore cover, so I was able to jink away from it. But fearless thralls, they get into that. Everything he had was fearless, which is kind of my shtick, causing fear. So that was pretty rough. Um, all in all, I ended up with the Cerberus and the Praetor left on the table. Um, had we got I gave him the you have it because if we had played the 2 extra turns, he probably would have killed the Praetor in combat and had it. But I wasn't gonna sit there and you're like, okay, roll your shit for 2 turns for melee when it's not gonna matter that much. I don't have any win condition there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been coming up on time as well.
It wasn't.
Oh, well, fair.
Yeah.
I had a pretty similar experience. I played Nick Quinga with his pretty similar, honestly, mech list. Like rather than armigers, he had more scary bots. So he had Castellax and Ursarax. And
Ursarax are cool as fuck.
yeah, they are cool as fuck. Like I can't be mad about that choice. I had I think a combination of things. Like I think that I didn't have good target priority. Like I think I had the tools to do what I needed to do, but I didn't shoot at the right things. Because at first I tried to. He explained the mechanic of like the thralls units getting to come back on a 5-up. I don't know what exactly some kind of specific.
It's one of the Magos Lacrimata.
Yeah, so like that scared me. So I started trying to target that unit, which was full of Castellax. And I wasted my first round of shooting at it pretty much because, like, okay, I shot the. I actually got all 3 of my units with shred that game. So my Flamer support squad, my Scorpius, and my Macarius all had shred on them, and I pretty much wasted the first round of shooting with the Macarius and the Scorpius shooting at the Magos's unit because I think I killed the shit out of a Castellax, but like that's it. And I think there were like 6 or 7 Castellax in that unit, so it kind of was just like a drop in the barrel. Whereas I think if I had focused more on the thralls sooner rather than later, I might have not lost control at the end of the game like I did. But yeah, he kind of did this similar thing where he kind of flooded the objective with thralls, and there was really not a whole lot I could do about it. Like I just could not kill enough of them. Yeah, it was just a big scrap in the center of the table that I was ill equipped for. Because my flamer unit did great. It fucking wiped, I think, 1 or maybe 2 full units of thralls hopping out of their land raider and then just like shred flaming it to death. So like that was a great performance from them. Everything else was pretty mid, but I mean that's just like I said, target priority. It kind of got away from me, so it was a rough game. I think any mission where you're fighting over a single objective with a bunch of fearless strength 6 zombies is going to be a rough time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nick's a great guy though, and I definitely enjoyed playing with him.
Yeah.
His I think his list was just a bad matchup for that particular game. And I told him on several occasions, like, this was my penance for what I just did to Andrew in that last round. So, Andrew, you were vindicated, don't worry.
So yeah, we had I played Mike, I think it was Mike McCutcheon I played, is Blood Angels.
Yep.
That was a good time. Real tight game. And it was one of those games where you just had a good time. We just he hadn't played in a while. He was getting back in. I'm not the world's greatest player myself. I will admit that fully. We just had a good
No.
time. We just had a good time, man. That night of mine really came into its own in that match and was eating things up across the board until he died, until he got killed.
So what you're
Uh,
saying is that this little night of mine, you really let it shine?
oh yeah, and I was very pleased.
Fuck.
And it was one of those games that really I think the timer had more of an effect on the game than anything either the two of us did more than anything else.
Oh yeah, I will mention that just really briefly. The mystery rag absolutely perforated my asshole. Like the mystery rag was a bad choice in that particular game because Nick just was able to park zombies on it and just fire it and just killing anything that had gotten out of the transport that it was riding in. Like the transports would get popped and then the guys would have to hoof it and then they'd just get annihilated by the mystery rag. So mystery rag
Yeah,
is 0 out of 10. Would not choose.
yeah, and for our game, really, I don't even think we fired the damn thing in our game at all. I don't think either one of us held it long enough to make a damn difference as far as firing it. It was just at the end of turn three. Like I think we got to the end of turn three before time hit. He happened to be the guy with the unit on it, and that kind of decided the game.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If we play another turn, then I could take two land raiders and dump 20 guys on it, and that totally different. You know, ball game there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good game overall, and we had a lot of fun. That table was kind of, I will say, probably the coolest or one of the cool parts of that particular thing was the table setup we had was real interesting as far as the actual terrain on it. So had that big like Castellan stronghold was sitting on our table, which was kind of cool. Like here's this big stronghold in the middle of or off to one corner, so it kind of changed how we deployed. We ended up kind of playing cat and mouse around the walls of that for a turn and a half. It was kind of neat playing peekaboo with Land Raiders and Lehman Russes back and forth.
Yeah.
I really loved that terrain piece.
Yeah, it's a good terrain piece.
Yeah. As well utilized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think all the points I got for the traders game one, I gave them all back. That game.
Yeah.
It should
At
be
least
like
everything evened out.
Yeah.
Then was that everyone?
Yeah.
yeah, everyone.
And unfortunately, that is about where our recording cut out. Next episode will be out soon. That will be a continuation into Game 3 and some general thoughts on running missions. If you had an experience at the Williamsburg Muster and you wanted to let it be known to the wider world, send us an email at argeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. That's ARGELTALK podcast@gmail.com. You can also send us lists to review, general complaints about the game or life or your cable bill or anything of that nature. We'd love to hear all about it. Until next time, that's it.